it's me, Kiellie, the unsupervised drunk gypsy in Wichita, Kansas. Sorry, and I am here tonight to show you some very inspired techniques, all with Miss Lillian's No Wax Chalk Paint products. And I know that I'm not going to be able to do this with my hair down, so I'm going to have to pull it back. I do not know how some people can actually paint with their hair down, chastity, but I cannot do it. So, pull this back. Okay. I thought about it. Okay. So, I have been working on this little jewelry armoire that I got. And I love it, but I've had it forever and I couldn't decide what to do with it. And I've decided that pretty much everything I do starts to lean towards steampunk, so I'm just going to embrace it, and I'm just going to do steampunk. So tonight I'm going to show you how to, remember to take out your drawers first, do this lip technique using two different types of paint. And then on the side here, I'm going to teach you how I make my rivets, how to use the Metalsmith paints to achieve an awesome rust and patina, and hopefully I will be able to show you how I also achieve a rust look with gilding jewels and embellishing butter. So because it takes time for the reactions to occur, I'm going to start out with the Metalsmith paint. These are metal gears that I cut out. I like to use pop cans actually a lot, but I couldn't find my pop can stash, so I just used some thin metal brass that I got at Hobby Lobby. Metalsmith paints are really, really amazing. So, the first step is after a good cleaning, you're going to want to use the primer for Metalsmith paint. It comes in gray or orange. And it's very important to use that primer if you're going to be working on metal, because we're going to cause an actual chemical reaction that's going to cause rust. And if you don't prime it, that chemical reaction and that rust is just going to eat through your metal. And you're not going to want that in the long run. So let's start with the Rusted Oyster. It's a new one for me, and I'm kind of madly in love with it now. I will do my best to answer questions if I can read. I've got things kind of tilted. Hi, Miss Marilyn. So Miss Marilyn is the creator of all of this awesomeness, and I love her Metalsmith paints. Another thing about the Metalsmith paints is that you want to give it a good shake, but then you really want to make sure that you stir this up, because you want to get all of the pieces inside of it that cause that reaction. You want to get them all mixed up and throughout the paint. All right. And then I'm just going to pour some on my plate here, because I don't want to cause contamination by dipping my brush repeatedly into this and leaving it open. So there's quite a few Metalsmith paints, and I don't remember exactly how many there are, but there's 3 different activators, and I can never remember what goes with what, so I write them on the back of my activator and also on the back of the paint jar. This Rusted Oyster requires the rust activator, and if I want some extra patina power, I'm going to use this iron patina powder. There's iron, copper, and bronze. So we're going to move these guys over. I already have the primer on these, and I have already done 1 coat of the Rusted Oyster. So I'm going to put my other coat on now. And it just goes on nice and smooth. That's my fault. Get up there. And this will cause rust on whatever surface you activate it on and you get it on. I have rusted my glass work plate. I've rusted cardboard, wood, you name it. It is awesome stuff. And this is a beautiful color. I really, really like this shade. Okay, so now, get off my hand. I'm going to sprinkle some of this powder. Put it on the big one right here. I'm just going to sprinkle. But I don't want it on everything. So these normally come with a spray top, and I forgot to rinse it out last time I used it, and the spring inside rusted. So after you're done using your activator, that you take out the spray top, the spray nozzle on top, and you rinse it out really well with water so that you don't end up rusting out your spring like I did. So now I'm just going to use a brush like this. All right, I'll pull it up here. So while it's still wet, I'm going to flick that activator on, and we're going to set this aside because it takes time chemical reaction to occur. It occurs as it dries, so it's really fun to watch. I'm a big fan. And my boys are too. It's fun. Whoops. I'm going to dot some on there. It'll be fun. Happy accidents, right? All right. So I'm going to set that aside as well. Look, I already started rusting my hand. Oh, good times. Okay, this I'm going to do real fast as well. It's aged gold, and this uses the green activator and the copper patina powder. And I just used it not that long ago, so it's not, I don't need to mix it a little bit ago. And you can layer these with each other as long as they have the same activator. It works really well, and you can get some really, really, really cool effects and color combinations. And this works on all kinds of material. You don't just have to do it on. I've used it on wood, glass, cardboard. You can use it directly on the furniture piece itself. You don't just have to limit yourself to the accoutrements. And if you have tried Metalsmith, let me know which one is your favorite. Because let's be honest. Now these have a little bit more texture to them because that first layer, the first coat that I put on, I textured it with my brush and kind of stippled it because I wanted to see what it would look like after it got patina on it. I am a messy, messy creator. I know some people who can stay super like clean while they paint, and I just can't do it. It's just not me. So we're gonna put a little bit, sprinkle, just a little bit on there. Close it back up. Okay, and this takes the green patina powder. I don't have it written on here yet because this is a new one for me as well. But I checked and made sure it's the green patina. Spritzed. And you do want to make sure you get this activator on while it's still wet. You don't want it to dry and then put that activator on. That's not gonna work out well for you. I know, because I have made that mistake before. All right, we're gonna let those start to dry. That chemical reaction is gonna occur, and we're gonna work on our other stuff now. Ooh, Mesa Sky and Lapis, me too. I actually just got a metal barn cutout that I'm going to use the Mesa Sky on and send it to my parents. Mesa Sky is this beautiful red that patinas with a really, really pretty turquoise. And it is seriously gorgeous and heavenly. So that's the Mesa Sky, and that's the Lapis. It's pretty gorgeous. It's got a turquoise patina on it as well. And I just love them all, in all honesty. Okay, so while we're sciencing over here, let's just do our rivets. So, I use, to make my rivets, I use googly eyes. That's right, googly eyes. These little guys right here. Hey. Googly eyes, that's what I use to make my rivets. And they come in all kinds of sizes. Cosplay trick. So the first thing, of course, after a good cleaning, which I highly suggest the first step prep. It's amazing cleaner, and it's got, I just forgot words. It's got something in it that helps with adhesion. And it's a great cleaner, and you don't have to rinse it off, which I like. So after a good clean, I use Uncle Jeff's Original Swamp Mud. This was made to give slick surfaces something to grip. So, you know, the googly eyes are that plasticky, slick surface. However, paint doesn't like to adhere to it, even chalk paint. So this is one that I've already done. It's not going anywhere. That swamp mud gave the paint an amazing surface to adhere to, and I know that paint's not going to go anywhere. So this has one coat of swamp mud on it. And now we get to use something really fun. This is called Texture Magic. It's a powder that you mix into your paint, so you don't have to paint over it. You've already got it in the color that you wanted. So it saves a step, which I love because I don't always have a lot of time to work on these things that I would really like to. So I just grabbed a little Dixie cup from the boys' bathroom. So this is Texture Magic right here, and I really, really love this stuff. You can use it for stencils, for raised stencils. You can use it to make any kind of texture with your paint, which again, you mix it in with, so you don't have to paint over it. And I'm not gonna need very much, so I'm not gonna mix up a whole bunch. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, and as you can see, there's a lot in this can, and I've used this several times, so a little bit does go a long way, and it's a great investment to make. I'm going to use steel for my base color. And I can't always get jars open, so I have to use my jar opener. There we go. Okay. So I'm actually going to mix this into my little cup here. Remember, I can always add more paint, but I can't really take any paint away, so. And I want it to be thick, kind of like frosting. A little bit more. All right, and if you want to make this thinner, you can. That's the great thing about it. You can make it thick or thin depending on what kind of application you need it for. Whoops, there we go. Find another brush. Okay, so I'm just going to take it and paint it right over. And I made this one this is really thick. You can make it thinner than that. But I want to get texture. I can pick up my highlights and the rust that okay, and that's it. So that dries. And that had been painted with gray swamp mud earlier. So see how there I've put, I can manipulate it and put in some extra texture if I want, which will show up when I highlight. Fun stuff. Hi, Miss Gary Ann. I'm making sure that I stay nice and clean just for you. Okay, ooh, so our Metalsmith, it's already starting to react. Look. That's pretty cool, huh? I think so. It's really easy, and it's actual patina and actual rust. We didn't like paint it to look like it. It is the actual thing. And it's the easiest way to achieve that. So this is what my rivet looks like when I'm done with it. I goofed and I completely painted both of them. I use gunmetal as the base color over all of that swamp mud, and if that dries in time, I will paint them so you can see, and then I dry brush silver metallic over the top, and it just highlights all that texture that we just put in. Like that. Okay, so I started to rust this with my gilding jewel. On my rivets, to rust them, I use embellishing butter in rust and gilding jewels in oil rubbed bronze. And it works really, really, really well. So I've already got that oil rubbed bronze on there so that it could dry. So it's dry and it's set. This is also self-sealing once it's dry, so that's a lovely perk. You can use a brush if you would like, or you can just use your finger. It actually is very smooth and silky, so it feels really nice. And I just dab it on or brush it on, whichever one I want to do that day. Whoops. So, put it over there. And that's done. That's a pretty easy way to achieve that rust. There we go. On this one, I'll put the Gilding Jewel on it. This is the Gilding Jewel in oil rubbed bronze. They're like my Pokemon. I've kind of got to catch them all. I love them. They're beautiful, and a little bit goes a long ways. I've used this so many times on so many projects, and I've barely made a dent. So I just use my finger, because again, I'm messy. But you can use a brush, or like a sponge applicator would work as well. And I go around my edges. Rub some on just a little bit to darken it up. And then we can have a nice rusty rivet. Googly eyes. Make excellent rivets. I know, it's kind of crazy, but googly eyes. That was once a googly eye. Now it's a rivet. So you can use a little brush if you would like. I like these brushes. I kind of swiped it from one of the boys' cheap paint brush kits and trimmed it down to my liking because it's nice and it's stiff. So when I want to use it on something like this, it works really well. And you can rub it in if you want. So that was pretty fast and easy, yeah? I like it. So there you go. Cheap, easy way to make a nice rusty rivet out of a googly eye, some swamp mud, texture magic, some metallic paint, Gilding Jewel, and embellishing butter. This stuff's really fun, and I need to find something else to use it on. It also self-seals, which is fantastic. I love self-sealing products. Okay. So, do you have any questions? If you have any questions on how I did this, you need me to go back over it, let me know. I'd be happy to. Okay. Ooh. So, that is how this pale gold is turning out. And this is the one that I put the copper patina powder on. That looks pretty awesome. Kind of digging it. I like it a lot. See, in this one, at a different rate. And tomorrow morning, they'll all look different too, which is awesome. So my rusted oyster is taking a little bit longer, but it is beginning to show a little bit. We're getting there. The pale gold really is very, very pretty, and I'm really, really liking how that is turning out. And that is actual patina, because science. Okay, so the other thing that I was going to show you was how to do the paint lift. And I do that by, where did my door go? So the door of this little armoire I haven't done yet. I've painted it in Rosebuds in June. It's a really, really pretty color of pink. And over it, I'm going to use Rose Gold Metallic. But in order to get more work time and to get the paint to lift off before it dries, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of the extender, which is made for shimmering luster and the metallic paints. It gives you up to 30 minutes more work time because if you're doing a really large flat piece, sometimes you need a little bit more time. And it doesn't take a lot. I think it's like 1 part extender to 10 parts paint. It really doesn't take a lot at all. So, there we go. I'm just gonna pour some in. Alright, and then I have my extender. And it's really not going to take a lot. If you put too much extender in, it takes a very long time for your paint to dry. Been there, done that. So that's really not a lot of extender. So this jar of extender will also go a long way. You'll be able to work on so many projects with that. Mix it together. I ran out of mixers, so I'll just use paintbrush. If you've used her metallic paints, you know that they're fantastic. They're nice and thick. They're highly pigmented. They do self-level and they self-seal, so what's not to love? And the colors are amazing. They're my most favorite metallics out of any I've used. Okay. My hands are shutting, and I need just a touch of coffee. All right. I do love my coffee. All right. So, let's get this painted on. It goes on nice and smooth because it is amazing paint. You do want to brush in one direction. You don't want to go back and forth and paint all crazy like. Baby wipes are awesome to have on hand, by the way. And I want some texture in this. I don't want this to be perfect because I'm kind of going for a grungier look. I don't want you in there though. Okay. Whoop. And this little knob, I can't remove it and it's driving me nuts. Otherwise I would have used a roller. Oh well. Okay, so I'm going to use this stamp right here. It's nothing special. I picked it up at one of the hobby stores. I want to make sure that you can see. So I want it to go. I'm going to set it down just like I would if I'm stamping a piece of paper. And pull it up. And it has left me with that, which I think looks pretty cool. And depending on how the light's hitting it, you can see it more than other times. But again, you have to do this while it is wet. And that extender is going to give you some more work time, which is really nice, so that you're not really rushing against the clock too hard. I'm going to get my gears out. Easy peasy. And I'm not making these absolutely perfect because I don't really want them to be perfect. Now with steampunk, you normally see darker colors, browns, moss greens, navy blue, black, grays. But I wanted this to be very girly, so I'm gonna call it Steampunk Glam. And I use this beautiful rose gold. There we go. Can you see all that? So, yay! And then, just like I did on the side of the piece, I just put the gears that I did. Whoops. I put the gears and the rivets directly over what I had stamped. Just like that. And when you're going to place the rivets, you want to make sure that they make sense where you're going to place them. You would want to place them where pieces would be going together. You don't want to just put them randomly wherever you feel like, because that's not going to make much sense. So, and there's my top. And that was that lift technique. Using the extender mixed in with the metallic paint. It gave me plenty of time to get all of those stamped so that you could see the color beneath. So, I think that's all that I had. We did the rivets, we did the Metalsmith, and we did the lift technique. So, I think that's all that I really have left to do. So, this is how the rusted oyster is starting to turn out. It really is awesome. The Metalsmith paint is fun. And that's an aged gold. So I will put all of those things on this piece and make more rivets because I really underestimated how many rivets I would need for this. Oops. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, or you can always ask Marilyn herself as well. And it's been nice spending. Have a great weekend, and I'm Kiellie, the unsupervised junk gypsy in Wichita, Kansas. Good night.